Josh Croggan, welcome. Thanks for coming on today. I want to say congratulations, firstly, on getting your pro card as well. That's outstanding, especially as a natural athlete. It's just amazing. Thanks for coming down today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, boys. It's an honour and a privilege to come on, you young chaps.
I wanted to ask you so you won, and correct me if I'm wrong, the International Natural Bodybuilding Federation Men's Physique.
You're there, come on.
Brackets medium World Championship.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you missed a little bit, but it's not bad. Right. So I won the WNBF, which is the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation Men's Physique Pro World title. So you've almost got like two levels of competitor. You've got amateurs and then you've got the pros. I won the pro, so yeah.
Best of the best.
It's not bad.
What I wanted to ask is, how do they categorise like small, medium, and large?
I do. I hadn't heard of that until today. Actually.
Yeah. It's height classes. So a lot of people think it's like weights and like, oh yeah, your medium weight. It's like no. It's just basically they'll take all the people that are competing on that day and then just split them up into 3 sections based off of the height. So
cool.
Generally speaking, it's like 175 centimetres to 180 centimetres in the medium, and then shorts on the other side of that, talls on the other side of that.
Cool. And how does that compare to IFBB? Do they do it differently?
So IFBB in the amateurs, it's all done off a height. In the pros, it's all one. So I don't know if you've ever seen an IFBB pro show, just like loads of guys on stage. It's like a bloody free-for-all.
So for reference then, what weight were you actually competing at?
I was at about 78 kilos on stage.
Fair,
so 78 kilos at 177 centimetres. So yeah, it's not massive, it's not small.
Yeah. And you said that you've been training for 10 years now, as of this year, 2024.
Yeah, 10 years on the 14th of Feb. That's pretty wild. It's gone very, very quick, and I do not regret it at all. It's been like the best time that I've ever spent.
Do you think, running back to the beginning, was like, did you start off thinking, oh yeah, I like bodybuilding, this and that, or was it just kind of, I'm just going to go gym as a casual thing, I want to look good with my top off, all that kind of stuff? Or like, how did you kind of evolve into the actual bodybuilding side of things?
That's a really long story, that one.
We've got time.
So I originally started training because I wanted to get a little bit bigger for football. I was a striker, so like really quick, but not very strong. So started training to, pack on a little bit of size. And then what I found was I was probably better at weightlifting than I was at football.
Who did you play for?
Wickersley and just like the surrounding areas. So just did the weight training, really loved it, really enjoyed it, like enjoyed it more than I did playing football, and just ran with it. Thought, you know what, I think I can see myself pursuing this as a career, like PTing and what have you.
Yeah, for sure.
And one thing led to another, and I then got into bodybuilding, like the actual competing side of it.
How far were you into your training when you started to think, do you know what, I could probably make a career out of this?
About 4 weeks ago. When I was 22, I think I looked at like at 22 years old, I looked considerably bigger than most guys or most natural guys at 22. So I thought, it might be worth me, trying to look at doing a show. I found a nice local show to do. So,
cool.
Do you know Mexborough?
Yeah.
There were a show there just randomly. I was like,
that is very random.
Yeah. And do you know what was even more random? The standard was ridiculous.
So there's a lot of big guys in like Doncaster and Mexborough around there as well, because there's a lot of them like proper old school, bodybuilding gyms and all that kind of stuff around there.
That's what it felt like. It was like the South Yorkshire Classic. Every hard nut from South Yorkshire got absolutely shredded and then competed there. So, I did men's physique. So, as well in bodybuilding, you got 3 classes. Bodybuilding, classic, which is like C-bum, and then men's physique, which is what I do. Yeah. It's like the smaller of the 3. I did a very, very, very quick prep. Like my first prep were like 10 weeks max.
Yeah.
Got quite lean. competed, and in my eyes, very, very luckily won. And
pretty decent for your first show.
Yeah, and like I said, the standard were really quite good. So it really did. It made me think like, oh, what if I actually, kept going at this for a few more years? Like, where could I take it? Like my hero in bodybuilding is Ryan Terry. He's from Retford, so it's not far away from here.
Have you been to the new gym that he's just opened?
I've not yet. I might go this afternoon. Yeah. So I thought literally, if I could try and get anywhere near that as a natural, that would be, pretty sick. So yeah, that's the start of it, I guess.
How did you, obviously going into prep for the first time, how was that for you? Because I know as a natural athlete as well, it's a lot different in terms of you have to watch everything so carefully, water retention, all that kind of stuff. So how was that for you?
Yeah, I think initially, it basically started out as a holiday prep. And then when I came back from holiday, I was still in good nick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know what? A few more weeks of dieting, I could probably get, pretty shredded. So it wasn't that difficult because I didn't have the mindset of right, I'm going to compete. I'm going to, go and win or whatever. It was literally, I'm going to look good on holiday. And then, I look good when I've come home from holiday. I'm going to keep going, doing what I'm doing. So all the small variables, I didn't really take much notice of. Obviously, as time's gone on, I do take a lot more notice to the small stuff now. But initially, it weren't. It was just literally doing it because I enjoyed it, kind of testing myself, testing my mental capacity, my physical limits, and yeah.
How was that kind of transition then in terms of prep now compared to how it was then? Is it, I don't know, kind of mentally, physically, what's it like for you?
I'd say the biggest difference between the start to now is just the duration of preps. My most recent prep was, when I finished, it was 30 weeks long.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's quite draining as well. After I don't know. I mean, I don't really know too much about.
It would be draining, I'm sure, or I would look at it as more of a draining process if I weren't getting the results that I were getting.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a very, very, very competitive person. So winning things or being the top of something, it just keeps me going. I don't feel any kind of mental fatigue towards it. I could do it if 30 weeks, it was fine. If it was 50 weeks, I'd have still kept going. It didn't really bother me. But yeah, 30 weeks of being absolutely on it every single day really does. It does test you.
Do you have a coach?
No. I used to be coached. My first ever prep, I was coached for the majority of it. But now, before we obviously started recording the podcast, we're talking about my background. I went to uni, studied sports science. I've always been a little bit of a bodybuilding fan, so I've backed my own ability to kind of take myself where I want to go. So no, I've not been coached for nearly 3 years now.
Wow,
fair play.
How do you find that? Because with that, you have to hold yourself accountable. There's no one who's going to check up on you or help you out or make sure that you're dialed in. You have to do it all. So do you feel like that's maybe an aspect of a coach that you miss, or are you quite good at holding yourself accountable?
Over the last few years, it's not something that comes naturally to everyone, but I've made a conscious effort of making myself more accountable to myself. Anything that I say, I make an effort to do, and if I start doing something, I will see it through. So my goal last time we competing was to do the full prep completely by myself.
Yeah.
And that was in my mind every single day. So the accountability issue was not there at all, because, I value everything that I say, and, I've got a reasonably good record at coaching other people. So to coach myself, it's just, another task that I want to see through.
For anybody wanting to get into coaching and PTing and stuff, I hear a lot of people say that to be a good coach you need to have had a coach. So would you say that's something that's stood out for you? Did it help you a lot having a coach at the beginning as well?
Yeah, I would say it did. Obviously when you start doing anything, podcasting, you go off of what you see online, and then you realise that there's so much more to the process than what is online. So sure. Yeah, there is value, massive value in hiring someone to get you to where you want to be. But whenever you hire someone, you've got to learn as much as you can as well, like when you're paying them however much you're paying them. So the coaches that I've worked with in the past are like, in my eyes, the shit's hot and they were worth every penny that I've paid them, because I've then been able to absorb what they've put onto me and then obviously apply it to myself and my clients now.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think you're going to stay coaching yourself, or is it going to be, as I don't know, how are you finding the comparison in terms of having somebody like Charlie's just said, having that person to hold you accountable, or do you think maybe in future you're going to go back to having someone again? Or
I'd never say never. I think like where I'm at now in life, like my business is growing quite a lot. There's loads of other things that I want to start doing or to continue, like obviously my own podcast and stuff. I might get to a point where I need to hand over the responsibility of like my physique to someone else, and you know I'll be fine to do that. But like right now, I've got the mental capacity, I've got the energy to coach myself, so I will continue to do it because obviously it's going well as well. So
yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about how you think that world level bodybuilding compares to other world level sports. Because with bodybuilding, it's 24/7, down to even when you're meant to be resting, it's the quality of your sleep, how much sleep are you getting the next day, it's your food, it's your training, it follows you everywhere. And I can imagine that that's quite demanding. And so are other world level sports, but with bodybuilding, you can't get away from it.
Yeah. I think any sport, you can have your downtime. Like, even being a footballer, you get your pre-season or like your end of year break. F1, being a race car driver, it is the same in bodybuilding. Yeah, you do have to be on it, but one thing that I put on my clients a lot is you need your downtime to be able to do it for longer. Like, I know how I see bodybuilding is different to most. Like I've just been on holiday, had 2 weeks, I trained 3 times and I didn't track a single thing that I ate. I needed that rest to be able to then give the next 50 weeks of this year like 100%. So it is all consuming, but you can have your downtime. It's not something that like it has to dictate absolutely everything that you do. It can dictate most things, but not all. I've spoke a lot on like my YouTube about being a 95% bodybuilder. So 95% does not get fucking missed. But there's a 5% that's like, going out for food with my girlfriend or holidays, that kind of thing. They're like golden, but they don't have a detrimental effect on the other 95%. If anything, they make the 95% like worthwhile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of putting it. For anybody struggling then to kind of find that balance, what would your advice be?
Balance is... I don't think that there is such thing as balance, because I think people see balance as this like, oh yeah, you do one good thing and then you're allowed to do one bad thing. You've got to find like what balance you're comfortable with, and like you can't want something that's, to be the best in the world at something and then expect to have balance whilst achieving that. Like there's a point where balance just isn't a thing. Yeah. If you've got a goal in mind, just work out or ask a coach or hire a coach what actions are required to get that, whether it's a physique thing or a performance thing, to achieve the goal, what actions are required, and then figure out from there how you can make balance work, because, it's so easy to go wrong with it.
I can imagine it's quite easy for people to kind of spiral off in any certain direction in terms of what you're saying about there's always going to have to be some sacrifice either way. Yeah. And I guess it can kind of lead you onto that path of, I don't know, whichever. Yeah. I think as well with people, like things like diet and stuff, something that I wanted to touch on. What would you kind of... I know people get kind of obsessed by it, like scale weight, diet, obviously... especially when you're first getting into it. I know it's a big thing nowadays, online as well. There's so many different aspects to look at. What's a good way for people to kind of like dictate what the perfect way is, but not be too obsessed with it?
It's a good question. It's a really tricky one because, again, it's like what outcome are you after? What effort are you willing to put in? And you know, what is it that you enjoy doing to make life worth living? If you've got, I've got loads of thoughts going through my mind. Like, what way do you go with it?
I guess it is quite relative to the person and to your goals.
It really is relative to the person. But I am a firm believer that if you want to achieve something, if you truly want to achieve it, not like, oh, I kind of want to do this or I kind of want to do that, you can do it. You've just got to like, you know, give a shit about the goals that you're setting and get after it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, to be honest. I think it seems to be like really overcomplicated now as well. A lot of people, even with the craze of like optimal gym and optimal training and food and everything, I think, I don't know how you feel about this, but people need to sometimes kind of take it back to the basics rather than massively overcomplicating their whole life around this kind of thing. Yeah,
I think the Optimal Club, it's a boring club to be part of, to be honest. sorry, Optimal guys, really sorry. You can just end up missing out on loads of things by trying to be absolutely perfect. Like, there's beauty in imperfections. Like,
sure, yeah.
Do both of you guys train?
Yeah.
So like the most fun part of training to me is like when you've obviously, shout out to my boy Sam Sulek, how Sam trains, you know, like where the reps are pretty shit, but
just
how
crazy
that feels, how that feels mentally is like, it's euphoric, it's awesome.
And he's strong as fuck.
But it's not optimal.
Yeah.
So you're happy to like miss out on that bit, chasing this optimal way of doing things, and it's not fun. It's not enjoyable.
It is interesting to hear you say that as someone who is at the top level, saying that you don't train optimally. So would you say that your approach is making sure that the training process is as enjoyable as it can be?
Yeah. It comes back to that 95% again. So 95% is optimal. I'm not going to lie. Like my form on things, it's pretty perfect. Yeah, my training sessions are all planned out every week, and you know, I know my numbers for the past 3 years on every single movement that I do. But there's still that 5% that's like, fuck it, I'm going to give that a go today. I know I trained legs 2 days ago. I don't care, I'll do it again today. It's fine. It's just kind of the balance. What balance of unoptimal and optimal is going to keep you interested in training and going after it for a long period of time? For me, I've seen it a lot on Instagram recently where like the optimal guys, they end up like basically dropping out of training, or, you know, they start doing a prep and they don't see it through because it is boring. And if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to see it through. Yeah. It's like you guys with your podcast. If you're not enjoying it, you're probably not going to record another episode. So the enjoyment has to be there to get the longevity of whatever it is that you're doing. And sometimes optimal isn't enjoyable.
I'm sure, is that quite a big thing that you factor in when you've got clients as well? Because I don't know, in terms of like the types of people that you coach, is it kind of people who are into prep? Do you get like people who just want to get in good shape? Or I'm sure person to person it depends, but obviously, especially if you're just getting into training, whether that's the gym or, I don't know, climbing or anything, I feel like enjoyment is a big factor of that.
Yeah. The majority of clients that I train or work with, the more on the, I'm going to say the word extreme, but I don't mean like mentally and physically detrimentally extreme, but the more on the extreme side of the like physique goal scale. So they're wanting to, you know, get insanely shredded. They're wanting to look better than they've ever looked before. It's not like a case of, oh yeah, I'm happy if I just lose 10 pounds. It's like, no, what would I look like if I lost 30 or 40 pounds? Like, it's pretty high level stuff. I've completely forgot what your question was. Rambling.
Just in terms of like, sorry, let me think about it.
Do you know what I do want to talk about for a little while?
Go on then.
I lost my train of thought there as well.
Is your decision to stay natural.
Yes.
Now, at what point...
Or am I natural?
Have you ever been tempted by the dark side?
Oh,
Wow.
story time. Yeah, so, right. First of all, my decision to stay natural is based off of a few things. So, growing up, I started training when I was like 17. Properly training when I was 17. And the people that I looked up to were all enhanced. Ryan Terry, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I used to love Rocky Balboa. And I Googled, was Rocky natural? No, he weren't. He were on gear. So I was just like, there's no one there that like I can actually go, oh yeah, he's natural. I want to be like him.
Yeah.
So literally from 17, 18, I was like, right, whatever I do, I'm going to keep it clean and I'm going to try and be as good an example to, honestly, my little brother, who's, a few years younger than me. Because I just didn't want him going down like Josh is on gear, I'm going to go on gear. So I kept it natural as like to be a good example to him. And then obviously as time's gone on, it's now like reaching a wider audience and it's right, okay, I'm going to stay natural and, show people the natural route to just be the person that I wish I had when I was like first starting out on the old fitness journey. But the question that you asked, was I ever tempted? So when I was 17 and I first stepped foot in a gym, 17, 16, when I first signed up to a gym, the first guy that I spoke to was an IFBB pro. And he was like, oh, you just signed up. He was basically trying to sell me PT. I was like, man, I've got no money. You are wasting your time. And he was like, right, what's your goals? I was like, I want to gain, a lot of muscle and be strong. And he was like, right, okay, what supplements are you taking? I was like, I've just bought some creatine. You don't want to take that, mate. All right, why? Well, it's just a waste of money. It's marketing scam. You need some proper stuff that's going to help you. All right, okay, yeah, I believe you, mate. And this is before I even lifted a dumbbell. It was like, you need to start taking Dianabol, which is an oral steroid. I was like, really? You're like, yeah, definitely. I'll give you this pot half price, like 20 quid. I was like, all right, okay. Gave him 20 quid. So this is 16 years old.
Were you aware of what it was that you were buying?
So, and I had my creatine in one hand, I had the D-ball in the other. And I literally went into the changing rooms, Googled it, and I was like holding it. I was like, oh my God. Oh, these are steroids. So I went home and I literally sat in my bedroom and was like, right, I want to get big. I do. But obviously, I don't want to die. So, I had like that decision literally on day one of, do I go down the natty route or do I jump on the gear, jump on the juice on day one?
In the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans where he sat on his bed holding the black Spider-Man mask.
Literally it. Yeah, so literally I went to the bathroom, poured them down the toilet, and I had the pot in my bedroom for years, right? Because I was too scared to put it in the bin in case my dad saw it and thought, he's definitely been taking that. But yeah, that was literally day one, like the test of...
That guy.
Yeah.
Do you still know who he is?
Yeah.
That seems very extreme for him to offer a 16-year-old steroids on their first day in the gym.
Yeah. And last summer, I'd not seen him for ages. And last summer I saw him and he was like asking about my competing. And he was like, oh, you can't do natural. Because remember, I was like, no, mate. I didn't take anything. You just sold it to a 16-year-old, you dickhead. Yeah, scary
He must have been quite proud of you, though, to see where you've got, or is he disappointed because you didn't?
He didn't believe me, which in my eyes is like biggest compliment in the world.
That's great, isn't it?
Someone that's like an IFBB pro that I looked up to for years didn't believe that I was natural. I was like, thanks, bro.
So is it just never something that you've thought about ever since that point?
No, look, like I said, there's loads of things that goes into it. My little brother's got a heart condition, and then as it transpires, like the majority of my family have a heart condition.
Yeah,
so
that's fair enough.
in my early 20s, there were like a second opportunity come around, like, oh, do I go enhanced again? Or do I, like, you know, look down that route? And the fear of like, oh, right, I've not actually had any tests or anything done on my heart. Maybe I shouldn't, in case like I take something and, you know, I have a heart attack or whatever, then that would be less than ideal. So yeah, and then obviously because I've kept doing the bodybuilding and kept competing, I've just got higher and higher and higher up the natural ladder that I no longer want to. I would never, ever, ever, hand on heart, promise you. I would never go on gear. I'd never take anything, because I think the natural route is just far more rewarding. I think the way that natural bodybuilding is going now is seriously impressive. Like, I've competed at the Worlds and the standard was insane. Yeah. It was insane across the board. Yeah. It's not like there weren't like oh yeah, that's a good group and then the rest are not so good. Everyone were quality. Yeah. And like, if you watch the Olympia, you hear a lot about people coming in off or whatever. Oh, he spilled, whatever. That didn't happen at the naturals. Like, the standard is just so high. Yeah, we don't have the size that the enhanced guys have, but we've got everything else. Yeah. It's competitive, you know, everyone looks sick. Like, what more do you want?
Going on to the, like, what you're saying about you don't have the size and stuff, I always hear a lot of people on, I don't know, like just online now saying about genetic potential. I want to know what kind of your opinion on that is, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, you've been training for this long, reached genetic potential, got to hop on gear, blah blah blah.
That again brings me back to, like, do I go on gear when I was in my early 20s? Because I'd been told a lot by people, look, you've maxed it out now, like, you're not going to get any better as a natural. I was like, oh Christ, like, I'm going to be training for, you know, the next 10 years. It's going to be a waste of time. Genetic potential, do I think it's a thing? A little bit. Do people underestimate where their, like, genetic ceiling is? Yeah, absolutely. Like, something that I did for a very long time. You know, I struggled to get over 80 kilos when, 80 kilos in my, like, late teens. I thought, this is probably going to be as big as I'm going to get. A few years later, I'm like, well, I was nearly touching 100 kilos. It's like, I could have very easily at that first, you know, struggle, cheated or done something different. But no, I kept going and, you know, kept pushing my own perception of my genetic potential. So, yeah.
Do you think if there was more awareness and education on what steroid use can do long term, that less people would do it?
Yeah, definitely.
The statistic of, like, people on gear in the UK is something crazy now as well. It's an insane amount. Considering if you think about the amount of people that actually compete and take it serious enough, I think it's mad.
It is absolutely insane, right? And do you know what's, like, more insane as well? Like, I work with a lot of people online, and how, like, casually steroids are used within, like, just people that don't even go to the gym, like people taking fat burners and stuff for holidays. It blows my mind. They're so bad for you. Like, literally, the steroids, they are banned. Like, what are you doing? And it's just like, it's so common. It's far too common. But that's like the world that we live in now, isn't it? Everyone wants the end outcome 3 times quicker with putting in half the amount of effort, and that's the way of getting it, by being a big cheat.
Do you think that kind of awareness could be fixed by people who are on steroids being more open about it?
Yeah, I do. But I think there's a lot of people that are on gear. They're very good at, this is not everyone, the majority. They're very good at justifying their actions by the goals that they're trying to pursue. Yeah. Like, we spoke about someone, not going to mention their names, who's got, like, a ridiculous goal at a very young age. So he takes an ungodly amount of gear. Yeah. That's undoubtedly going to have some detrimental effect on their, like, you know, longevity of life. And they won't see that side of it. They won't see the, all right, I could drop
Tunnel
dead at
vision,
any...
innit?
Yeah, it's tunnel vision and deluded positivity towards what it is that they're doing.
Do you do any work like trying to optimize your T levels? Is that part of what you do as a natty, or?
I'm gonna tell you a secret now. I've never had my bloods done, so I have no idea what my testosterone is.
Mad.
Because I saw, are you familiar with Chris Williamson?
Yeah.
Modern Wisdom podcast.
Yeah.
He got his T levels done and they were like, it was like 400 or something. And through lifestyle change and diet, he got it took again 8 months later and it was like 930.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are things that people could do maybe before steroids, just lifestyle changes, better sleep, better diet and all of that. Maybe before they were to consider taking steroids.
But that goes back to what I said previously. That requires someone to put effort in and then over a longer period of time, then get the result. People are like, all right, my testosterone's low. I'm going to take gear. Sound. I've been given the green light. It don't work like that. Yeah. Me personally, I've never got my bloods done because I'm not going to take anything to rectify it. Like, you know, I'm not going to go on TRT. I'm not bothered. I found as well, like in people that I've coached and they've got the testosterone levels tested and they've found out that it's low, it then affects them mentally.
I can imagine.
So they're just almost without actually having a reason, the performance starts dropping and then they start going, it's low testosterone, bro.
A bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It goes back to that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, because as soon as you know, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and that's it, innit? Like the journey that I, like the prep that I've just done, I needed everything to be shit hot from start to finish, and there were no way that like getting my bloods done, I weren't ever gonna do something like that could potentially affect my mindset with training and in the end goal.
So something I wanted to touch on was satisfaction. So a lot of people now, especially like online with TikTok and stuff, there's always someone bigger, always someone better, that kind of thing. I hear a lot of people say that when they first start the gym, it's kind of a never-ending cycle of just, I don't know, like you don't like how you look and you're always chasing something more. So what's your kind of opinion on coping with that, and how do you find satisfaction in like the smaller things along in the journey?
I think what you've mentioned there is like that's a big societal thing at the minute. Like I think a lot of people put their self-worth to the world on how they look, and I don't think that's right. Like how I view myself and what I try and get my clients to do is, you've got like, it sounds really cheesy, you've got like your spiritual self. So I've got like spiritual Josh, which is the words coming out of my mouth and the thoughts in my brain, and then there's physical Josh, which is my body. And I see them as very different, right? The things that go off in my brain and like, you know, the conversations that I have with people or the things that I do, that's where all of my happiness comes from, right? Yeah. My physique, besides the feeling of winning, provides me zero happiness at all. I do not give a monkey's what I look like at all, because it's just your body, innit? You know, it's gonna go. Like I'm gonna age one day. If I put all my happiness into my body, when I turn 40, 50, 60, whatever, my happiness is gonna go. Yeah. Whereas if you try and separate the two, then you know what I've found, you're happy for longer. You've not got like your entire self-worth put on your physique. I've gone off on a lovely tangent there again. So just try and view them as different things. Like it's obviously important to look after your body, make sure that you're healthy, but you shouldn't put your happiness on your physique and how you look.
It seems like you've got a lot of insight when it comes to this kind of topic of keeping things balanced but still working hard. Have you always been like that, or were there times when you were younger where you were all in and you were hard on yourself and your body did matter more?
I think that's it, because in my younger days, I did. I cared so much about how I looked, and I put everything on like, right, I used to work at Hollister, and did you boys ever shop at Hollister? No? Right.
I know what Hollister is.
So
t-shirt
to work at Hollister, you had to be pretty good looking. You had to be
I've
pretty
seen
built.
Mike Thurston talk about this.
Yeah.
Because he worked at Hollister and he was like, yeah, I worked there and I was all like Billy Big Balls because I got a job at Hollister.
Yeah.
So it's at Flannels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like flannels like 10 years ago. But yeah, I thought, right, I've got this job based off of how I look, and that's the important thing in life, like how you look. And it's not, because when you get out into the real world, it's really like no one gives a shit what you look like. They don't. They care about what you know, how you act as a human and the conversations that you have with people. They're what matters. It's not really not what you look like.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like body and I don't know, setting goals to feel satisfied in terms of like not just in a competing sense, but like smaller goals and stuff. Is that something that you do, or how do you kind of feel satisfied while training rather than getting proper struck up because your arm's not a certain size or this and that? How do you find satisfaction along the way?
I'd say with the training satisfaction, if you're obviously goal setting, achieving a goal, no matter what it is, whether it's physique or work or anything at all, you are going to get some kind of release in your body. You're going to feel good about it. So if you make your goals more performance-based rather than physique, then you'll get more like hits of dopamine and, you know, just general happiness from doing that. But because you're chasing them progressive goals, then your physique ends up looking pretty decent as well.
Yeah.
So, but again, all the happiness and like the focus isn't on the actual physique, it's on the doing the do. It's progressively getting better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, with my coaching, it's obviously there's an element of physique goals involved, but again, 95%, it's around the performance. It's around like, you know, the things away from you, like, you know, sleep, eating good, like getting the most out of life rather than looking shredded all year round. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you think your mindset is going to change now? Because there's a common theme in sports where people they're shit hot on the climb up because they know they're not there yet, they're not there, and then they get the title, and then your mindset changes because now you're no longer hunting, but you're the hunted, and everyone on that stage next time you compete is going to know that you are the world champion and you won it last time, and they're all going to be gunning for you.
Yeah.
So how do you think your approach will change now you are the world champion compared to when you were climbing up?
I think I can set, like, you know, you boys are from the same area as me. If you're from South Yorkshire, right, you're constantly chasing something else because you've been told your entire life that you've been born and raised in an absolute shithole. You've got a point to prove constantly, right? That's like my mindset to the core is like, yeah, I was the world champion last time and I want to be the world champion every single time I step on stage. I don't really care if someone's out to get me because I've got a bigger point to prove to myself and, you know, like, where I'm from than any individual that wants to come for me. So I've had this for years as well. Like, people calling me out on Instagram and, you know.
What can they call you out about? Because it's not like it's a fight. It's not like you can say, like, Josh Croggan, you and me are going head to head. Like, you both stood on stage smiling, looking happy.
I mean, it's good for publicity and stuff, though, isn't it?
It's not even good for publicity. You just look like a dickhead.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember, like, I did my first year of competing, won one show, and then the second year were like, yeah, Josh Croggan, I'm coming out to get you. No, you're not, because we're going to stand on a stage, do some quarter turns, and then a table of judges are going to decide who looked the best. No one's coming for anyone. It's just stupid. That's like the thing that's different with bodybuilding compared to other sports. There isn't you're not going to get knocked out. You know, no one's going to score more goals than you. Yeah. It's literally, you've got to keep doing the work and calling people out. If you've got the energy to call someone out, then you're probably missing something in your own, I don't know, day to day. Yeah. You need to put more effort into it. What you mean. Yeah.
Do you think actually something I wanted to talk about as well was like how you make a living out of bodybuilding aside from competing? Because I know, like, even for, I don't know, everyone knows Sebum nowadays, and for him winning Classic Olympia, he got I think it's 50k from
it was $50,000.
Yeah.
which is like the amount of money that he puts into, I'm sure, training, obviously nutrition, like coaches, just everyone around him, I'm sure equates to a lot more than 50 grand. So how do people kind of build themselves up, personal brand, all that kind of stuff?
You've mentioned Sebum. Sebum, in my eyes, is a unicorn, right? He's once in a lifetime. There's going to be no one will ever replicate him. He's fantastic. He was the face of an entire division, and he will be the face of an entire division till the day that I die. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
So I think for people that are more like, I'm going to say, like, on my level, how do you make money from bodybuilding? You've obviously got the coaching route. You can obviously, work with brands, build your social media up, like a few of my mates have. There's loads of ways. It's just none of them are easy. Yeah. Like, people look at online coaching, they go, oh, it's easy. You can work from home. You can work from bloody Bali, whatever. It's not that easy. You've actually got to be good at what you do. You've actually got to know what you're talking about, and then get so many results. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like my result of becoming a world champion, it's not actually boosting my business that much. Again, ultimately no one cares. And it's more to do with, like, the results of my clients boost my business more than me. So can you make a living from bodybuilding? Yeah, absolutely. Is it easy? No, it's not at all. You're probably gonna have to pick 2 or 3 different streams to try and build an income from. So you've got quite a lot of people at the minute doing, like, posing coaching, so teaching people how to pose for the bodybuilding shows. Obviously, you can go down the apparel route where you build your following up on social media and then try and monetize that by selling shit t-shirts from I'm joking to everyone that's ever done that. No, but yeah, there's ways of doing it. I tell you, the one way that is guaranteed not to work is relying on prize money from shows.
Yeah.
As you've mentioned, Sebum got 50 grand from winning the Classic Olympia. That's sick. That is absolutely ginormous, and he's got 50k for it, which isn't even, well, it's in dollars, so it's not even like your average household income in the UK for 1 year.
Yeah.
And, there's only one person going to win it as well. I don't even know what second and third got. It weren't a lot of money.
Yeah, considering he's the face of bodybuilding as well, he's got we were looking at this the other day. I think he's got 20 million followers on Instagram.
We were looking at it in here and we were comparing the following that he has. I didn't realise that he was as big as he is. He's got more followers than, like, Joe Rogan and all of these other people.
It's crazy.
I didn't realise that he had that much following.
Yeah. There's obviously a thirst for bodybuilding out there, or, like, big guys, big handsome guys. It's just insane. Whereas, like, just for context, so Sebum got 50k, I got 1,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that even cover your flight to the States?
No. No. But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine because that I don't do it to earn money. Like, I think that's, like, a young man's mentality as well. Starting anything to earn money, you're not going to get very far in it. It's when you do it for other reasons, greater reasons, that's when you end up, reaching the top of whatever it is that you're pursuing. Last year I did 5 shows. And 2 of them I got prize money. So one I got $1,000, and then the other one I got $1,500. So $2.5 grand.
For the amount of effort you put in as well, I guess the money return isn't crazy. But I bet the satisfaction is way over the top of the money.
Do you see it growing? Because with different sports, there's usually an influx of money when they sign, like, a TV deal or something. And with bodybuilding growing so much, I feel like since COVID, bodybuilding has just shot off as something that a lot of young people are getting into.
Yeah.
And do you think as that grows, prize money will follow along with that as it gets bigger and more eyes are on it?
I know it's growing. Like I've been in this game now like 5 years. I remember my first natural show versus my most recent show. Friggin' hell, it's levels above. Like the prize money at the Worlds, first time I competed at the Worlds was in 2021 in Vegas. Really, really good time that. Really good Vegas. I came third and I was buzzing, right? And I got $300.
Mad.
$300, right?
Straight out to the Bellagio.
Yeah. $300. Yay. What am I going to get? A glass of wine. I actually had a meal the 2 days, the night after. That was more than the prize money that I got. Yeah. just a really good time, really cheap. I love bodybuilding. Yeah. So in the 2 years there, I know third place now got like $1,000. So
it's already going up.
It's there. The progression is there, and that's like why I'm so excited about where I'm at now. Like I'm at the top of the tree in the natural world, and the natural world is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
One of my sponsors is called Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide. Shout out to my boys. And what that is, it's basically an online forum where people just go on. It's like Facebook, but 10 times better, of course, and the content on it is out of this world. First link in the bio. And members wise, you're sitting at around 600 a month. That's 600 paying members of like £10 a month.
Yeah.
That's, there's a
pretty
thirst there
decent,
for it. Yeah. And that's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think bodybuilding, and natural bodybuilding especially, is going completely in the right direction.
Why do you think there's been such a discrepancy between natural and enhanced bodybuilding in terms of, even, I guess, I know even for the enhanced, they don't get paid crazy money, but there's quite a big difference between you winning your pro card at a natural show and someone winning, say, I don't know, just an IFBB show or something like that.
I think... Have you ever seen The Greatest Showman?
Yeah.
Just no reason, just asking. That's all based around the freaks and drawing people to come and watch the freaks. That's what bodybuilding is in my eyes. It's all a circus.
You see people like Nick Walker.
Yeah.
And
he's called, the guy's
Paddy
called
and all them,
The Mutant.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He just looks crazy.
Yeah. It's obviously going to draw a bigger audience because it's so unfathomably crazy what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But then you look at you'll be able to get a lot of people's attention for a short period of time, but it's then when you get in people's attention for a longer period of time that you start seeing the detrimental side effects of it. Like, so many people die each year, whether it's from like bad mental health or, bad physical health conditions associated to steroids and, the enhanced world, that it's only going to drive more people to come to the natural side or take a bigger interest in it, because it is still freaky. It's just a different kind of crazy.
Yeah.
People just need to buy into it. We need to have like a few big personalities. We need like a Sam Sulek to come into the natural world,
for sure.
and then that will just boost it to another level.
I think there's been a bit of a reality check with the whole kind of like enhanced world in the past 10 years anyway, because there has been a fair few deaths of big people. Like, I'm trying to think of people that
Joe
everyone will know.
Aesthetics.
Joe Aesthetics most
Joe
recently.
Aesthetics.
There was obviously Rich Piana.
Yeah.
Ziz. There's been loads of big big names that have sadly passed away for possibly enhanced related things.
It's not even possible. It's 100% surely you can't get that big at such a young age, take that much gear, and it not have massive detrimental effects on your organs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So hopefully, the natural world will continue to grow and build, and we'll get a few unicorns like Sam Sulek, and they'll just boost the profile more and more and more. And then in 10 years' time, hopefully, this is now going out into the universe, we'll be in a position where like a natural show will have like a 20 grand prize pot for the winner. That would be amazing. You just gotta kind of create a following and get a few decent personalities as well as physiques in the industry.
these natural shows need to get a bit more airtime, to be honest, because I think they're pretty refreshing as well. Compared to, I don't know, like all the things you see surrounding all the enhanced shows, it's so based about what you're saying, like the freaky guys. Seeing people in a natural show is it's a bit more just down to earth in terms of, I think the personalities of the guys as well. There is a bit of a difference because of kind of the spotlight on them and the aura around them is just different.
Yeah, I think in the natural world, there's been a period of, like, I don't want to offend anyone, but oh well, of boring, optimal, like, scientific ways of doing it, and they're talking the scientific way, and it sounds really, really dull and boring. That needs to kind of be there, but not like the first thing that you think of when you think of natural bodybuilding. Like, you need some people to have like a bit of a laugh. And I remember I did a 10,000 calorie challenge a year ago and posted it to YouTube, and I got so much shit from like other pros, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing things like this. Why? I'm having fun.
Did you hit 10k?
Yeah, of course I did, mate.
What did you eat? You must have had a Domino's.
I'll tell you what, just watch it. I had a Rudy's.
A Rudy's.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it very, very good. Yeah, mate, it was a horrible day. I'm not going to lie. It was the least fun that I've ever had eating, and I didn't want to eat ever again after. But I did it, you know? It was a laugh at the time.
I want to talk a little bit more about the coaching side of what you do. And like, I can imagine, I have a mentor who is kind of like a coach, and I would find coaching very difficult to do, because every single person that you deal with, you have to be able to apply your knowledge to their situation in a way that works best for them. Like, you have to actually be a good coach, not just have the knowledge, but be able to apply it. How do you navigate that?
Oof. It is really quite tough, right? And with like my social media following, I've almost got like two camps of people, whereas like some people are like bodybuilders, they'll do whatever they want to do, whatever they can to achieve what it is that they're wanting to. And then you've got like the lifestyle people that want to look as good as they can, want to feel as good as they can. But then like, you've just got to wear many different types of hats and be able to like understand so many different people's situations. You know, like people that have got kids, people that, you know, students and they've not got a lot of money. There's so many things that you've got to be so on it with and understanding with. It's crazy. But how do I deal with it all? By getting to know my clients on like a personal level before I get to know them on a physical level. Like every client that I sign up, I'll get on a call with them. I'll find out as much about them as I possibly can. I'll stalk their social media all the way back to the year that they were born. And you just find out what it is that makes them tick, and then deliver the service in a way that I feel that they can digest it. So if I know someone's like, you know, genuinely busy, working 9 till 5 days a week, and they've got 4 kids, it's like, how can I deliver this service to someone that fits that? And yeah, it's not easy, but as time goes on, it just becomes second nature. And again, like that initial finding out as much about them as possible is probably the most important part, because if you don't know how your client is, then there's absolutely no chance that you're going to be able to deliver a service that they're going to stick to. And at the end of the day, them getting a result that they're happy with, that they tell their friends about and post on social media, that's what's going to boost the business. So the foundations, like the first conversation, is massive.
How much attention do you pay to the business side of things? Like, are you always trying to, you know, learn about offers and pricing and ways that you could grow the business more? Or is it just kind of mainly trying to focus on making sure that the coaching is as quality as possible and trying to grow it that way?
I've over the last 12 months, I've had this like really tricky bit of like, do I need to treat it more as a business, or should I be just literally focusing on being a coach? And what I found when I try to run it like a business, it loses my personality a little bit. So, you know, like trying to get, you know, doing ads and all that kind of thing. And, it's you do end up finding loads of clients, but they're not people that you generally like have an instant connection with. It's something different and weird that I don't really enjoy. Sorry, what was your question again?
Do you try and focus on the business side of things, or do you
right.
just try and focus on being a good coach?
So, having like tried to do the businessy bit and realizing that it's not for me. My girlfriend is an accountant, so business
that helps a lot,
is her favorite language to talk. So I'm just like, right, you do that, deal with it. I don't care. I'm not like, obviously money's important, but I'm not money driven. I'm very much like, I'm driven by helping people.
Yeah.
And I'll let her deal with the finance side of things and making sure that it actually is profitable. But yeah, I've always found like business wise, if I put more effort into coaching, then the business tends to run better. It's when I try to run it as a business, then the coaching tends to go a little bit shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just got to kind of like acknowledge what you're good at, run with that. And if you're not good at something, like running a business, let someone else do it.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. I feel like being a coach as well is, it must be difficult sometimes, right? Because if someone gets incredible results, obviously you've helped them as the coach, but they've still put in the work. And you might be humble and say, it was you've put in the work. But if someone gets bad results, it could be very easy for them to say,
I've done exactly what...
coach wasn't good enough.
Yeah. So this again, it comes down to that finding the foundation, like what type of person are you attracting or what type of person are you dealing with? Are they going to be honest with you from day one? Like I'm not shy at asking like awkward questions to my clients or like ringing them up on a Saturday night. Oh, what are you up to? Nothing, I'm just watching a film. I'm definitely not out having a beer. Yeah, sound bro, sound. Can't wait to see you check in tomorrow. It's just, yeah. It will be very easy for them to point the finger and go, oh yeah, you've not done this, you've not done that. But honestly, if you as a coach can just make a constant effort to make sure that you are being a coach and you are touching base, then you almost put the client in a position where they can't say anything bad about you because you built up such a good relationship with them that they don't want to slander you or have a go at you because it's clear as day that you've made the effort. And you're always like, I'm not going to sit here and go, I have no clients that are like that. Of course I have. Like, it's part of business. It's part of being a coach. You are going to have clients that don't get the result that they want or don't get the result that you want. And you've just got to make sure that you've done your bit to help them as much as you can. Yeah. And, you're not going to be able to help everyone. But as long as you can do your best by everyone, then it's a win, isn't it?
How much do you think your environment affects your training? So maybe even if this is like peer groups or the gym that you're training at or the people who are around you.
I think for starters, I think your environment is seriously overrated. I think so many people like put things on, right, I need to train at this gym or train with this training partner to be able to achieve whatever goal.
Yeah.
I think you can use your environment to kind of plug the gaps that you're missing in your like mental state. So if you struggle, like if you struggle to actually go to the gym, if you train at a gym that like, has heating or air conditioning in the summer, somewhere that like is quite a nice place to be, then that's going to help with your adherence. So that's where like environment can help. But I've seen it so many times, and like, I've experienced personally, like when your environment can not help you, it can actually make things worse. Obviously, you boys know the hashtag Mecca. Everyone listening knows the hashtag Mecca. It's a fantastic gym. It's unbelievable. But if you're there a long time, and I think what I found like most, like I trained there for 8 years, there's quite a lot of emphasis put on like your physique. And I think people miss the fact that there is a human like within that physique. Yeah. And everything's gauged around like, oh, when are you competing next? Or, oh, you're looking quite fat. It has...
I guess it can turn kind of toxic in a sense through that, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And, online you can think, oh yeah, that environment's perfect for bodybuilding, but at the same time it can be absolutely horrific for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is important, but it's important to have self-awareness on whether like you're in the right environment for you. Like for me right now, like I'm not training at the hashtag Mecca. I will be going back in the future, no doubt. But right now I'm at a nice, quiet gym where they don't give a shit what you look like. They don't give a shit what your goals are. They just care about you being a good person, tidying up after yourself, and just being respectful to other people. That's therefore allowing me to be a better bodybuilder.
So for somebody kind of making a transition from like your average gym goer, like what I've just been talking to you about off camera, to kind of like being not necessarily being a bodybuilder, but to that kind of lifestyle and style of training and stuff, what would you say in terms of staying at like a standard commercial gym, or like in that kind of environment, and moving into a more bodybuilding style of gym?
I had quite a strong opinion on this for a very, very, very long time of if you want to be the best, you need to be around the best. You need to have access to the best stuff. And in 2022, I coached one of my boys, Tamlin Robertson, shout out, brother, to a amateur world title, and he trained from the gym group. So he literally showed me firsthand, you can make it to the top, you can become a pro. And the only thing that really matters is the environment that's like in between your ears. Like, how much do you actually want it? Not like how much are you going to show other people you want it, but how much do you actually want it? Like, I think the value of being in a gym group or being in a commercial gym, it does test you more mentally, like how much you're actually wanting to achieve your goals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I've noticed it's a bit of a reality check going to a bodybuilding gym as well. Like you can step into pure gym, you can feel quite big, you can feel like you're like fairly strong or whatever in comparison to a lot of your average gym goers. As soon as you step into a gym with people who are actually doing it professionally, you get completely humbled.
Plates are just getting thrown on left, right and centre.
But then that's the value of going to a bodybuilding gym. You've got someone else to aim for. You know, your standards end up going from like being down here to elevated. So that's when you're ready to go to take that next step and go to like a bodybuilding gym. I'd say like for me, I've trained at the hashtag Mecca for a very, very long time. My step up in performance came in lockdown when I was training with one of my mates, Jake Brayley, who he won an Arnold Classic as an amateur.
Sick.
He's very, very, very good. He moved from Plymouth to Rotherham for the Mecca, and then we went into lockdown. So I basically messaged him on Instagram, was like, do you want to come and train at my house? Just don't tell anyone. Actually, I'm lying. I'm lying. This is a made-up story. If the government are
watching this podcast, I'll be happy.
Matt Hancock, if you're watching this, mate, you've done worse than me. So literally,
he has as well.
Yeah, he has. You dirty dog. He basically came to my house every day, legally, and we trained together. And he trained like on another level to what I've ever seen or whatever I've been exposed to.
In what way? Like intensity or volume or just. What was it?
Do you know what I think it was? He showed me that he wanted to train. Like all he wanted to do was train. When he came to my house, he either rode on his bike for an hour, or like he caught so many buses to get to my house. Like he showed me before he'd even lifted a weight that he would do anything to train. Yeah. So yeah, and then just the amount of volume that he'd want to do and the intensity that he could train at. Like I used to think, right, failure is one rep that, it's like Sam Sulek again. One rep that you can't do, whereas like Jake could come in, he'd be like, right, I'm going to do 8 partials on bench press. Jesus Christ. Why? And then he'd do it, and then over months his physique could change, and like I'd do it, and over the period of time my physique changed, and it just leveled things up again. But it's been exposed to that bumped it up a notch.
So it seems like kind of in terms of like the hierarchy of variables around your training, just training is number one, rather than, I guess, going back to what we were saying before about the basics and optimal blah blah. I think just train hard, eat well, before spending £100 a month going to this gym and this and whatever,
Yeah, that like again, when I first start working with a client, I'll get them to record as many sets as they want to record, but I get them to record the heavy shit. The heavy shit will show how much they want it and how intense they can actually train. And then from that, you're able to get a gauge of like, you know, everything else about a person. I do think in bodybuilding, you can tell a lot about a person by how hard they train. And if there's one thing that you could do of everything, every variable within bodybuilding, if training hard is the one thing that you can do, then you're probably going to achieve more than most.
Yeah.
Because training hard is probably, like, in my opinion, it's the hardest thing to do. It's literally fighting your brain telling you, going, no, you need to stop now, you're going to get injured. But because you enjoy training hard, you just keep going and keep going and keep going.
What do you think about bodybuilding and like hypertrophy training for longevity? Are you ever tempted to, you know, dabble in a bit of cardio or a bit of CrossFit?
I'm sweating, boys.
Yeah.
I see cardio as a tool of either managing appetite or getting lean. I don't enjoy doing it. Like, I used to do judo when I was like 15, 16. I enjoyed that. You could say that was cardio, kind of, because it was, you know, hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do see value in it, and, you know, there's value in it alongside doing hypertrophy training.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy it. Like, there's no part of me that thinks, I want to go for a run. There's never been a part of me.
Sounds like you.
Playing football, maybe. Like that,
Yeah.
you know, it's quite fun. But it's that competitive element, I think, that I enjoy the most. There's no competition running because, you know, I'm not running against anyone. Well, yeah, maybe I could start doing running races, and that might get me interested in doing cardio.
There you go.
Look, there's value in doing it, but for me, I don't enjoy it. I do it when I'm on prep. I do it when I realise like my appetite's quite low, like put at the top end of a bulk, and I'm like not force feeding, but food is quite high. I would add cardio in, or like, you know, doing fasted walks or whatever to try and
Sounds like me.
How many
upregulate.
calories are you doing peak bulk?
Oh, peak bulk, oh mate, loads. Between 5,000 and 6,000 a day. Yeah, it's alright, it's good.
And do you meal prep?
What do you mean by meal prep?
Like, do you batch cook all your food at once?
No, I don't
Make
like.
every single meal.
Yeah, because I work from home.
Yeah.
It's like one of the benefits of online coaching and being a bodybuilder is that you can basically bodybuild full time and just coach in between. Yeah, so I like to cook my meals every day. You know, I don't like microwaving them. It just doesn't interest me. I like microwave rice. Microwave rice is nice. Basmati Tesco's is the go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bang on.
Wait till you try basmati Aldi.
Is that good?
It is good. What's next for you? I mean, world champion. I'm guessing you're going to be competing. Is it next year or is it 2 years?
2025.
2025,
So, yeah, about 18 months' time, I'll probably start dieting. What is the goal? You know, honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot. Obviously, being on holiday, and you need to set your goals bigger and bigger and bigger every time. So I finally decided I'm just going to set the biggest goal that I could possibly set, and I'm probably never going to achieve it. But hey ho, we give it a go. I want to win a natural pro show in every single continent of the world, obviously minus Antarctica for anyone that's getting a bit pedantic. Actually,
on stage freezing.
I could host a bodybuilding show in Antarctica. That could be a goal.
In terms of getting eyes on the natty scene,
Yeah.
that'd be bang on.
Polar Bear Classic. I like it. But yeah, to compete in every continent and win a show would be, you know, pretty sick. Seeing the world, spreading the word of natural bodybuilding, of British natural bodybuilding.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I say, it's such a massive goal. Like, in my eyes, winning a world title was such a massive goal. I'm probably never going to achieve it. But if I did, it'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Obviously around your personal brand, and I've seen you been doing quite a lot with social media. Obviously, you've got your own podcast. You've been doing a lot of YouTube videos. Do you see yourself kind of going further down the social media route for like your own personal brand and stuff? I don't know, maybe making more YouTube videos, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so, because again, I enjoy that. Like, it doesn't feel like a chore doing any of it. Like, I love doing the podcast. Like, the guy that I do the podcast with is one of my mates who I've met through bodybuilding. It's such a laugh. I really do enjoy it. Same with like the YouTube videos. It opens so many doors. I'm doing a collab next week with a guy from Spain who's got like over 100,000 followers, who like I followed for a long time, and now he like reached out the other day and was like, oh, I'm going to be in the UK, do you want to get a session in? I was like, hell yeah. So I'm going to keep doing the social media because it's just opened so many doors, and like I've met so many lovely people through doing it, so like you guys today. So yeah, I can't see myself stopping doing that yet, because I feel like I've not even got started.
I want to ask you one final question. What is your why? Why are you doing all of this?
My why, I know my why. My why is to... Right, we'll take it back. So I grew up, like you guys, in South Yorkshire, in Rotherham, in one of the worst areas in the UK, apparently. And if you're from Rotherham, nothing good's going to ever happen to you, only bad things. So my why is to prove to young 10-year-old Josh, that it doesn't actually matter where you're from. It's all about you and where you can take yourself, or what, you can do whatever you want to do. And I think, setting bigger and bigger goals, it just proves to my, little 10-year-old self every year that there is no limit. There's absolutely no limit. Like, if you boys want this podcast to do well, you have every chance of it doing well, but you've got to want it. You've got to keep doing the do, and, keep setting bigger goals. And it's the same in absolutely everything. But yeah, mine is all based around proving my 10-year-old self that,
Amazing.
There's no limit.
Where can people find you?
You can find me in Sheffield. Instagram, Josh Croggan _, YouTube, I think it's JC Fitness, and my podcast is called Board Shorts and Banter, BS&B. Not to be mistaken with bullshit and banter.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it's better. I'm everywhere.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure today. Obviously, we'll have to run it back at some point in the future, maybe after your next show or something along those lines.
Yeah, definitely, boys. I've loved being on. Thank you for having me. You
amazing.
More than welcome to come on my podcast as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Why not?
Just talk about bodybuilding for an hour. It's great fun.
Good stuff.